the ocean, the reef, and the people. What connects everything together? What jumps out at you that you should see, right? And if you guys are thinking about it, think about it's like one body, right? And Ahupua'a is like a system, like a being, right? Like a person. Okay, what keeps all of us together? What keeps us alive? Something that flows through us, right? It's the same premise for the aina. Something flows through the aina that gives it nutrients. Okay, so if you guys are thinking water, then you guys are right on the mark, right? Answer is kawai, water. Okay, and our word for wealth comes from the word vai, water, vai vai. Okay, because without water, you really have nothing. Okay, so maintaining water and water rights are very, very important. Okay, for an ahupua'a. So let's look at ahupua'a. So look at these things we see here. Okay, we see some rock walls. We see one pile of rocks over there, and we see one pig. Okay, so what do these all have in common? Okay, so I want to teach you guys the root of the word ahupua'a, or how the word ahupua'a came to be. Okay, so ahupua'a is usually between the boundaries of an ahupua'a, right? If you look on a map, you see lines drawn all the way from mountain to ocean, right? So in between the borders of these ahupua'a were found altars, see? And the word for altar is ahu. And upon these altars were usually sacrificed pigs, pua'a, okay? And therefore they were called ahupua'a, because at those points is where the boundaries were, and sacrifices were made. And these boundaries between ahupua'a were usually marked, okay? And sacrifices to Lono. So go back and remember who Lono was in our Ho'omana system, okay? So, okay, again, ahupua'a. If you look at this tree, this diagram here, it's kind of neat because it gives you some features you might find in a typical ahupua'a, right? Going up to the valley, mountain to ocean. Just kind of remember that, mountain to ocean. Okay, and going back to the water thing. Okay, I want you guys to go back to the map of Oahu that you have with all the ahupua'a listed on there, and I want you guys to notice. Okay, just kind of look at it, reflect on it, and what's going to pop out to you is that, you know what? All the ahupua'a aren't the same size, right? When we look at ahupua'a, we kind of usually do a standard diagram of it, but what you're going to see is that some are fat, some are short, some are skinny, some are long, some are curved, right? Some have a lot of mountains, some don't have mountains. So you got to ask yourself, well, why? Why are they all different, right? And the answer comes back to water. Okay, you have to have a water source, and just remember that it's a system of resource management. So the divisions were made and shaped and carved out based on resources. Okay, people had to have enough to live and sort of survive, right? So again, ahu pua'a. Okay, and this kind of gives you an idea of what you might find. All right, so let's move on to our number 5 and 6, and we're just going to throw them together. Ili aina and mo'o aina. So within an ahupua'a, you'd find little boundaries. So within these, usually maybe between two ridges, you have a valley. Just say it's kind of prototypical ahupua'a. You might have divisions, right? That sort of carve things up into smaller chunks. These were ili aina and mo'o aina. When we talk about land commission awards, when we talk about Hawaiian homes lots, and when we talk about especially in the 1800s when land titles and land commission awards and royal patents were given out, they were usually ili aina, okay, which were kind of bigger than a house size, maybe a community size. Okay, so just to kind of give you an example, we're gonna look at UH Manoa. Okay, so let's look at UH Manoa, and there's a great example of an ili aina and mo'o aina right in the university's own backyard. So you guys see these 3 pictures over there. So you guys may not know that right within the university system is this neat place. Okay, and it's actually a nice way to describe an ili aina. Okay, so ili aina is also called ili. People call them that. So right next to UH Manoa is a perfect example, and it's called Kanewai. Okay, so right behind all of that, right where you just saw the slide before, we find this. Okay, so would you actually imagine, if you guys don't know this is there, that right behind the UH dorms, right in front of the entrance monument that I just showed you in the slide before, that you'd find this open grassy taro field. Most of you would actually be pretty amazed to find out that that's actually true. But these are real pictures. There is a taro garden on Lo'ikalo, right behind the Hawaiian Studies Center at Manoa. And I know this because I used to work there. And it's called Kapapalo'i o Kanewai. And Kanewai is the name of the ili aina, the mo'o aina, that surrounds it. Okay, that's why there's Kanewai Park, Kanewai Lo'i, so on and so forth. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, Kanewai. Okay, it's a beautiful place. And again, I used to work down in the Lo'i over here. And it's still there. There's still do a lot of work down there. So if you guys ever want to go visit, you guys can find the entrance and go down and say hi. But don't just go maha'oi. Don't just go wander around. Make sure you talk to somebody before you go and just start wandering around. Say hi, introduce yourself. You know, you got to be Hawaiian about it. You cannot just go what we call maha'oi and just wander around. But it's a very beautiful place, and visitors are welcome, and you're gonna learn a ton if you go down there. So, right here is a map, okay, and this is kind of like the size. It's bigger, maybe like a ili aina size. It's not a perfect. It's not the ili aina of this area, but it's a good estimation of what size might be. Okay, so if you notice the star here is where the Lo'i is, Dole Street, right? It's kind of lower campus, University of Hawaii. So this might be a ili aina, and this mo'o aina might include Kanewai Park over here and this size or something like this, right? So it's within. Okay. Again, it's a rough estimate. Okay, next slide here. So 7 through 10. Okay, we're gonna put them all up because it goes pretty fast. Okay, and what we have here is the last remaining terms. We got Pauku Aina, Kihapai, Ko'ele, Kuauna, so on and so forth. Okay, and these are just, like the Kihapai is important because that's like your farm size. So if you think about the map we went back to, which is all of Manoa, UH Manoa, and parts of Kanewai Park and so on and so forth, your Kihapai would be like your farming area here, right? So your farming area, you'd have your living area, and certain kalo, right? You'd have a ko'ele. So back in the ancient days, if you were a maka'ainana, a commoner, right, you'd have a huge taro patch. You have all these different lo'i kalo or taro patches within your property, but you'd have something called a ko'ele. Okay, so maybe down here, this right here would be your ko'ele, right? So this lo'i kalo that you see here would be kapu, would be only for growing plants for your ali'i. Okay, and that's part of your paying taxes, right? You can eat from the other lo'i and grow them, but you only can grow your ali'i's variety in here, and that does not go in your mouth, that goes to your ali'i as part of your taxation. Okay, so again, and kuauna would be pathways. So we went from a whole island chain all the way down to a little pathway here. So a little bit of an explanation on the Ahupua'a system, and from large to small. Just remember that, large to small, okay? That's kind of the key system here. And resource management, okay? And again, in the notes, you'll see the name Ma'ili Kukahi, okay, who is very important. He was a chief of the Oahu chiefs, okay, of Oahu genealogy, and it was he who created the system, okay? So it's his descendant, Kakuhiheva, for whom Oahu is named. Every island has its chief that it's named after, or its sort of famous ali'i, right? And his ancestor was Ma'ili Kukahi, who created this Ahupua'a system. Okay, so if you look at the slide here, it's kind of neat because imagine sort of visioning this out. If you were Ma'ili Kukahi, it's a very genius thing to do. I mean, it was unbelievably productive and efficient, and created on Oahu, but of course spread to every other island because it was a very unique and awesome system. Okay, but That's it. And aloha. See you guys next time. And mahalo. You guys are doing great in the class. Ahui o.